What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals took a little break. I had to leave the state, and it was hard to film with teenagers. And let me tell you, when our boy Zordon in Power Rangers was like, we need to give this power to teenagers with attitude, he was wrong. He made a mistake because I was around so many teenagers with so much attitude, which I do love all these teenagers. They do a great job. Was there for speech and debate, coaching it, but it was
there it is.
it was but at the end of it, I was like, man, I am so done with the attitude. I'm so done. I'd rather teach the littles again, and I wanted to stop teaching them.
It was just funny for me because you skipped over like the reason why you were with teenagers. So you just start off with, "Boy, let me tell you, being with teenagers is." I was like,
I just always
maybe we should
hanging out, you know.
Hang out with these
Yeah.
teenagers. You love them, but you hate them. And I'm like,
there's a horrible Matthew McConaughey and Dazed and Confused joke in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm not Matthew McConaughey. No. So we took a little break, took a little breather. Here we are for the podcast. We're going to get into it. Thank you, Movie Meal patrons, Kimberly, Karen. Remember, this podcast is Patreon exclusive. If you want to watch the full episode, you got to follow us on Patreon. A couple clip outs, not all of them, but a couple clip outs will drop the following Monday. So this upcoming Monday, well, we really took two weeks off, but that's okay. Busy bees around these parts. So we're going to talk about Lightyear. Now, we have not seen the film. Have not seen it. I was in Kentucky, didn't get a chance to see it, but I did see some. I wasn't on Twitter a whole lot or TikTok or really any of my social medias because I was up super late or driving kids around or watching speeches, doing all that kind of stuff. So I've seen some of it, but I know, Kyle, it's got you livid. So let's why don't you take it away here first? What's going on and what are your thoughts?
Well, I guess people are confused by what this Lightyear movie is. It seems like on Twitter they're very worked up about, I guess, how this ties into the cinematic universe of Toy Story. And I have people, there's people online questioning, like, wait a minute, what do you mean this animated movie is Andy's favorite movie and that's how he got the toy? And for some reason they can't grasp this concept and they're so worried about timelines for freaking Toy Story. And I haven't seen the movie, don't know if it's good or bad, but I think like my what I feel about this movie isn't going to determine whether this works for like it being Andy's favorite movie or not, nor do I care. I won't care going in because it's just supposed to be a fun movie about Buzz Lightyear, and if he wasn't a toy, like that's just supposed to be the premise. And I don't know why people are so in a huff about all of that stuff. So I just don't know what film Twitter is freaking out about this time, like what the rationale is. Like, it just seems like they don't get it, but I don't know. It seems very explanatory to me.
So we haven't seen the movie, but I believe there was an ad, wasn't there, of Andy in the movie theater watching this movie or something, and they showed like a little bit of footage, and then they started to put in the advertisement like, this is the movie that Andy went to that made him want to get the Buzz toy. That's what I've seen.
That's probably because Disney realized that people are dum-dums and they don't know what this movie is supposed to be, or like they are worried about what this movie is supposed to be when you can just go into the movie and hopefully enjoy it. So I guess they had to like shift their marketing towards that by the looks of it. And there was that one image you were talking about of like, it's an illustration of like Andy seeing the movie for the first time, and then
I thought it was a video.
The Woody toy. I've only seen like still image of it. Maybe it is a video, but there's like the still image of him like with Woody and like some other toys, and I guess like the alien toys are there too, and that also got people enraged because it's like, wait a minute, how are those alien toys watching the movie with Andy? He got those after getting Buzz, and it's like, who cares?
This is what Marvel's done to us, Kyle. This is what Marvel has done to us. How is the star? I can't even say it. Hang on. How is the Toy Story universe not connected and everything? Where's my backstory on the claw machine? I want to know how it was built. I want to know. Give me an A24 style film there. That's what I need. I'm gonna put it all on Reddit until J.J. Abrams gives me what I want. Anyway,
It's so true though. I feel like audiences now are so
Spoiled.
worried about connectivity of,
Yeah.
like, other movies, or they just got dumber and they don't know how to go and enjoy a movie for what it is. Like, I really don't mean to be insulting people. Like, if you are enjoying this conversation, I guess go right ahead. But I just was so surprised that it was so, and it's also in the film Twitter sphere. So it's not like an overwhelming majority of people are really talking about this. But even within our own film bubble, it was just so odd to see this pop up, this conversation happen. And it's like, is it really that important? I mean, there was an anime show of Buzz Lightyear in the 90s that wasn't really connected to Toy Story, if at all. Like, only for like the movie that they showed for Buzz Lightyear, it was just like a Toy Story intro of them watching the movie, and then that was it.
Yeah.
But like, why are you so worried? Like, Toy Story isn't about connectivity. It's not a. It's supposed to be a story about friendship and learning to grow up. That it's just let this movie be
I
what it is.
I do know too that there seems to be a pretty big crowd of people when it got announced that I think China was taking a scene out of the movie of a same-sex kiss or like relationship or something like that. Again, I haven't seen the film, but I
Right.
know that there is a group of individuals that all were like, "Then I'm not gonna see this movie."
And that's an
Uh,
entirely different group, I feel like, and they're
Yeah,
also
which is also
more
ridiculous
ridiculous
because
for
we
that.
all know what you're watching when you're by yourself alone in your room on those adult themed sites that are probably same sex relationships.
We know your secrets.
Yeah, every it's just how it is.
And
Uh,
you and I bet you I haven't seen the movie, but I bet you that scene over like that.
oh
It's
yeah,
probably very brief, probably in the background, probably has no connotation to the rest of the movie, and people are still dumb enough to think like the sky is falling because of it. So
yeah.
I don't know. It's just
I don't get the
frustrating to see a
fans.
kids movie have so much dumb conversation surrounding it.
Like, who's walking in doing what people are doing to Obi-Wan Kenobi and being like, I need flashbacks of Buzz with Woody in the in the story and in Lightyear. I need him to see Rex and Mr. Potato Head. It's like, can we all just calm down? All right, Toy Story, the first three Elite trilogy, Toy Story 4, solid little entry. They're just kids movies and just relax. But let's transition here to not a kids movie. But speaking of connectivity, this movie we're about to talk about, the first one, people were like, "There's a young Bruce Wayne. It's got to be connected to Robert Pattinson." No, it's not.
No.
But Joker 2, which I've titled Electric Boogaloo, the musical, we're going to touch on that real quick and just talk about that news. So, yep, Joker 2 is apparently a musical. And this is like real confirmed. Like he posted a picture of the script, right? And talked about it. Didn't he? Todd Phillips.
Yeah, Todd
And
Phillips
then the
did.
studio kind of backed him. Like this isn't some joke that we're just gonna stick with for the next year. Like this is actually happening. That Joker 2 will be a musical, and that Lady Gaga is apparently the front runner and in negotiations to play Harley Quinn, right?
I don't think they I'm looking at the Hollywood Reporter now. It doesn't confirm would play. Oh, never mind. Yeah, it does say that she is confirmed to be playing Harley Quinn. Okay, my bad.
She's
For some reason,
confirmed or in talks? I
probably
thought
in
she was in talks.
probably in talks, but usually when they say in talks, that means it's most likely the deal is about to get
Not
done.
always. Not
It's
look at
true.
Joaquin
There's the
Phoenix with
exception.
Doctor Strange. Get out of town here,
That's
guy.
fair, but
I'll
most of
find
the
five more.
time, most of the time. What's this movie supposed to be called? Joker. Oh, it's in
Two
French,
Electric
isn't it?
Boogaloo.
Uh, full. Why am I trying to pronounce? You
No,
can
it's
Google the
called.
name. I'm not going to
You
try and
know how
pronounce
to say
this.
Electric Boogaloo. Why you being so weird about it?
This is in French. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Folie à deux. Did I get it, guys? Any French listeners out there? Probably didn't get it, but you can also Google it and pronounce it yourselves. But
Isn't that fully a uh X? Isn't it? I don't think you pronounce the D. I don't know. I don't
I
speak
don't.
French.
Again, I don't speak French. I have
Anybody
no
in the
idea.
French community, come help us out. Sorry
At
for
least I
being
imagine
ignorant.
it's in French. I don't
Wasn't
know.
required in high school.
Maybe I'm just being offensive all the way around. I'm very sorry, but Um, so Joker wants to be a musical, huh? Well, okay, I
It
guess
does
why
say
not?
she's in talks. I'm reading the
Yeah.
Hollywood Reporter article. She's in talks. If the deal goes through, she will be playing Harley Quinn.
Okay. Yeah. Um, I'm fine with it. I mean, I guess I'm sure there was a lot of people that got angry about this casting news for some reason, but Lady Gaga's been proving to be a pretty good actor. I mean, she was good in House of Gucci, but House of Gucci wasn't like the best movie I've seen, but I liked it enough. And A Star is Born, she was killer in. She was very excellent. So I just like that she's, kind of taking this route of not jumping the gun at like doing every type of project, but just doing once where it can stretch your acting abilities. Maybe that's what's happening in this case with Joker. Now it's just more in the blockbuster realm.
She's pretty good in American Horror Story too. I
Mm.
never saw House of Gucci. I just know that I said in the first trailer that the accent didn't sound great, and everybody obliterated me in the comments how horrible I was. And then when the movie came out, every single thing I heard was this movie is not good and her accent isn't good. Jared Leto, like all these people I heard were way over the top and not good, and I heard it so much. The accent wasn't good, and for some reason everybody roasted me for saying it didn't sound great in the trailer. Never saw the movie after I heard it was so bad. Uh, but I think Lady Gaga is a very good actress, or a pretty good actress. I mean, she's a good actress. Um, I'm just trying to get my thoughts here. I think, as Harley Quinn would be really interesting, and I hope if it is a musical, it is more musical numbers than they sing the whole time. I don't really want them to sing throughout the whole, I don't want every word of dialogue to be singing. I want there to be some actual um spoken dialogue, because I'd really like to hear her version of the voice for Harley Quinn, because it's going to be harder to do that through the song singing aspect. I also am very interested in this type of Harley Quinn because I think we're a little bit too used to um well uh, uh, I'm trying to make sure I say this without coming across as sensitive, because I don't want to be. But she is a very different body type than Margot Robbie, and I think that is awesome, because I think we're gonna get and Lady Gaga is beautiful. I mean, they're both beautiful women, and I think that'll be great, because right now the narrative for the last few years has been a super skinny, scrawny Harley Quinn, and I'd
The
like to see this.
sexualized,
Yeah,
yeah,
and I'd like to see
sexualized
and
version.
Lady Gaga's beautiful, but she got some curves to her, and I think that is awesome as just for more opportunities for the character to be in a different way. And so I think that's going to be cool. I don't know. The WB, it feels like, and we're going to get to Ezra Miller here in a second, but it feels like they were like, how do we keep the media off of this? Hey, make Joker 2 a musical. Like,
Let's
I
finally
don't know what it's
greenlight
going to
it.
be. Can Joaquin Phoenix sing? Has he been in a musical before?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. I'm sure there's something in his filmography that we've missed. I'm sure he's done like stage plays as well,
I'm
and
sure he can sing.
probably
I
has some
don't think he'd be
chops there.
doing the movie. I don't really need a Joker 2. Um,
No,
the first movie is really just a psychological, taxi driver style watch as a man completely breaks down with the Joker name. Like, that's really what
mm.
it is. He's a completely new version of the Joker.
Yeah,
So I'm just curious to see what this will be. I didn't even realize they were making a Joker 2. I guess I must have missed it or forgotten that they had ever said that that was going to happen.
it
But
was rumblings. Like we want to do it, and
it
then
made a
crickets.
lot of money. So,
Yeah,
any other thoughts from
yeah.
you?
I just need to wait and see if it's actually going to be a full-on musical. Like, I feel like this is one of those situations where it's like, oh, don't worry, we're delivering on the musical aspect, and then it's going to be like one or two songs, like
Yeah.
them finally connecting romantically, and then it's like a musical number, and then that's it. I just
Or
have
it'll be
that
like a
vibe.
dream sequence musical number, like in Harley Quinn's
Yeah,
head. They will sing together, but in reality, they're, oh my god, that's exactly what they're gonna do.
I
Oh
just,
my god, that's
I just
exactly
have
what
that
they are gonna
feeling.
do.
I have that feeling. I hope to be surprised. And obviously, there's nothing to back this on. I'm just basing this off of like my watching of the first Joker movie and then reading this article, but for some reason, it just feels like that type of situation. So I won't be colored shocked if that happens, but if Todd Phillips does make an actual musical, then
I'm
hey man, hope you do a
I'm
good
calling it
job.
right now. This movie will be through the lens of Harley Quinn, and the musical numbers will be in her head as she is daydreaming about the Joker while everything else is actually going on in real life. That is 100% what this movie is going to do. I
I
guarantee it now. It's
I
not
actually
going to
wouldn't
suddenly
hate
be
that.
them that I mean that it just makes the most sense because you can't have this drastic change of the first movie to now they're singing every time they're doing something. So this movie will probably follow the perspective more of Harley Quinn, and it'll be when they're going doing something, she'll zone out and we'll like zoom in on her head, and then it'll be them doing what they're doing but a musical version of it. That's
I actually
exactly what it's going to be. 100%.
I actually wouldn't hate that because I guess for things taking place after the first Joker movie, like it would make sense for followers and other people to like idolize what he's become. So like if she, let's say, was in the same mental institution that he's in now, she could be looking at him through that lens, and it could be from that perspective. Like, I don't know. I think you kind of sold me on the movie now, but I also am in the same boat to begin with anyway. I don't really need a Joker 2, although I did appreciate Warner Bros. Actually like sticking their guns and letting this thing play out, and for it being the success that it became. But
Doing something
don't really
different.
need it, but yeah, and it was something different for like the blockbuster landscape. I have to admit that. I enjoyed the movie enough to where I could be appreciative of it doing that. So,
Yeah, that first trailer is going to be what sells me. I'm not super excited for this, so it's just I got to wait for that trailer and go from there. But speaking of
yeah.
WB, and I brought up Ezra Miller, let's talk about him being a horrible human being who clearly needs a lot of help. Um, but what did he get in trouble again for? I mean, I know he got in trouble for the thing in Hawaii. He had gotten in trouble before that for, I think, hitting somebody, like a girl, like a video came out. He hit a girl. And then now, isn't the newest thing allegations of grooming? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Ugh.
apparently he met a Native American girl at 12 years old through, I guess, like some meet and greet type of scenario.
She
And I
was
guess,
12?
yeah,
Oh
and I
my
believe he met the
God.
parents at that time too. But I think over the years he was kind of always around. And then it seems like currently she's of 18 years of age, but now she and him are on the run, and the parents are trying to put out like a restraining order for him, but
Oh
no
my
movement has been
God.
made yet because they can't find him. They can't find him or her. And it's terrifying. Like it he was already terrifying like with the Hawaii thing, and 2 years ago with him hitting that woman somewhere in Europe, like was it Dublin or something? I can't remember off the top of my
Yeah.
head, but um
Ew.
it's just a gross and awful situation. Um and what bothers me is WB's lack of addressing it. Well,
Didn't they
they
announce that the Flash is it? That they're still going to release this Flash movie? Aren't they finished in production with it? And then it's going to be no more Ezra Miller, nothing after that?
Yeah, there was an article that wasn't necessarily confirming anything, but they're saying most likely what will happen is WB will cut ties with him after the movie, which to me isn't a good. That isn't good enough. Like, first off, you should have said this from the beginning. Second off, you shouldn't have been with him before shooting, and you should have made some sort of statement, like at least saying we know and we're trying to do everything we can to possibly help Ezra, to possibly to get this situation under control with like the proper officials. But no, they just have been trying to keep it quiet because they love the actor for some reason, but he's not as big of a name as many other actors to where it causes such an uproar. Like remember back to when he for the first allegation or first out it's not an allegation when he did hit that woman drunk. um it was really swept under the rug. Like there really wasn't much conversation around it. And I think pandemic was part of it because it was during that time, but on top of it, he's just not an actor that people know by name. He's just not that popular to begin with. But I think over time, the name keeps appearing because so much crazy crap is happening around this guy that people are starting to recognize the name now because of that. And then once the Flash movie comes out next year, that could still lead into not having the best success for this movie. I mean, they really don't have much of a choice now but to release it, but they shot themselves in the foot, I feel like, with Warner Bros. And it just really makes me angry because of that. Like, and
Yeah.
with Ezra Miller, I hope the dude finds help or finds someone to help him, but he doesn't deserve this in my eyes. He doesn't deserve having any sort of roles, and I really hope this young woman that he's with ends up being safe because this could end even worse than what is already transpiring right now. And I really hope that's not going to happen.
Yeah, what's crazy too is the CEO of Warner Brothers. Um, or hang on here, let me get my thoughts together. So, uh, I think WB is being quiet because they are terrified of having another Johnny Depp issue. I think after everything that just happened with Depp and Amber Heard, and they have, I guess, cut Amber Heard out of Aquaman 2, where she has like one scene, and then they reportedly they're not gonna do any more work with her.
Mhm.
But they were so reactionary to Johnny and all those allegations that then this trial comes out and a lot of new evidence comes to light, a lot of things like that. And then everybody's like, well, Johnny Depp clearly needs help, but there's a clear abuser in this situation here. And WB just dropped him on everything without talking to him or doing this. And so I wonder if they're taking the stance of we got to find him, we got to talk to him, let's keep quiet. What they should do, though, is say that. Come out and say, we want to help Ezra. We've loved working with him. We would like to find him and help in any way we can settle this matter. We will figure out what we're going to do with the Flash movie and if he'll be on any future projects after we speak to him and others. And they're not doing that. And that's the biggest problem for me. I don't think you come out and just drop him. I mean, he's done some horrible, horrible things, but I think the move, strictly speaking, from somebody who is trying to come from a CEO's perspective, if I'm the head of Warner Brothers, I don't come out and just start screaming and yelling, especially after what happened with Johnny and Amber Heard, that we're just going to drop him. This guy's horrible, blah, blah, blah. Even if I believe that, I think I just come out and say we're going to do everything we can to help. We want to get this situation solved. We want to help find this girl, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's what they're doing without actually doing the saying it part is what I'm hoping, or they're just sitting there doing nothing and they're just going to wait and ride this wave out. But WB has not been in the brightest of lights over the last 2 years with the way they've handled actors and actresses. Um, so I think they're just scared to keep this bad media train going, and maybe they are doing a lot behind the scenes. I think it's a little unfair to think they're not, as well as plenty fair to think they're not. So, but
Oh, I
that's kind of
mean,
my thoughts on it.
I'm sure that they have talked to Ezra before, but it's not a good sign if even despite that, your actor is still doing stupid shit like this and you can't find him. They can't find their main actor. Who knows where this guy is?
So, where is it
Like,
being reported that they can't find him?
I'm trying to remember the source, but it was from legitimate sources. Like, this isn't just someone being like, they can't find him. Like, literally, the parents reported this to the police, and the police are saying, like, we're looking into it and we're still trying to find these two.
Huh.
It's just, this is a crazy situation. And it's just so weird that there's been lots of times where actors are just like coming across as bad people and then studios immediately cut ties with them, but this one is just odd to me that they are still like tiptoeing around it. Like, I get what you're saying, like you shouldn't outright say that, but for me, like you should outright say that because this is just madness to me. Like at this point, I just don't. I hope he does get better, but I just don't. I just don't see the redemption right now. Like, it's tough for me to separate the art from the artist about this. You know what I mean?
So, so Deadline says the 18-year-old's parents allege the two met at the Standing Rock Reservation in North Dakota when their child was just 12. The parents allege Miller gave Takata, I think is how you say that, drugs and alcohol, flew the child to London and to places such as Vermont, New York, California, and Hawaii. First of all, if your 12-year-old is being flown by some Hollywood dude, parents, what the heck are you doing? This past week, Miller deleted his Instagram account in the face of the thing. The actor allegedly mocking authorities about their whereabouts. And then the girl posted a video on Instagram defending him, saying it's nobody's business and nobody is owed a story or outcome. She said in a 2-minute video, "This is my life and these are my decisions, and I'm disappointed in my parents and the press in every way." Prior to the recent news about Takata's parents' allegations against Miller, the actor was arrested twice in Hawaii for a dust-up at a karaoke bar in March, followed by an arrest for second-degree assault at a residence a month later for allegedly throwing a chair at a woman at a private
Oh, I
party.
forgot about
Miller
that.
attended uh, attended cutting Miller a party Miller attended, cutting her forehead. During the first incident, the Hawaii Police Department reported that Miller was agitated. Miller began yelling. 2 days later, the couple who lived with Miller at the hotel filed for a restraining order against the actor after Miller returned home from the karaoke bar and allegedly threatened to bury them. And then another disturbing video was in Iceland where he
Iceland,
was
that's what it was.
confronted by pushy fans and he was seen choking and throwing a girl to the ground after they were pushing on him. I do remember that did happen. Side note, did you see the video of Tom Hanks yelling at fans and paparazzi because they almost knocked his wife over?
Yeah, it was badass.
Yeah, love you, Tom. So Warner Brothers has so far declined to comment on Miller and where these mounting incidents will leave the studio and the actor's future. Deadline has reached out to Miller's legal reps and will update as soon as they have it. There's also a line in here that says, let me find it here. Deadline has heard the studio has tried getting help from Miller, but the troubling headlines continue to pile up. So maybe the studio has been trying over the last couple years to help him because they were like, hey, he's our golden boy. Because we've seen issues like that happen too. When you look at like Shia LaBeouf, he was being looked at as like Paramount's golden boy, Spielberg's
Mhm.
golden boy, and the studios didn't help him. They just fired him and he fed into his own demise. And maybe the studios are trying to help him. I'm trying to look at this half full here from the studio's perspective, but that's interesting. If this, I mean, the girl's 18, but that's still pretty gross. That's really, really disgusting. And
Yeah.
she doesn't
It
have an understanding of the whole world. I was just hanging out with teenagers for the last week. Said at the top of the show, 5 or 6 of them are 18, and like they're kids. Like that's
yeah.
disgusting. Like they don't know how the world works. I don't know how the world works, and I have a better understanding than them. Like what are you talking about? Like that's disgusting. Yeah, Warner Brothers needs
Yeah.
to say something soon. Hopefully they find this girl. Hopefully they get it all sorted out. Yeah. Anyway,
I I have no plans of seeing The Flash right now. Like,
I wonder if
I
it
really
goes
don't
right
want
to
to.
HBO Max. I wonder if they just wait a couple years and put it out on that a few years later for those who wanted to see it.
I don't know. This is 10 plus years in the making. They finally got like Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. Like, it still feels a bit big
Ben
to put it on
Affleck's in the Flash.
HBO. Yeah. Yeah,
Whoa!
that was like a big headline.
I don't care about Warner Brothers news. They just keep messing it up,
um
unless it's the Batman.
I just have been so exhausted with the Flash kerfuffles to
Yeah,
begin with, but I and granted, if you want to separate the art from the artist, I totally support that, but just with this situation, it's just so fresh and ugly to me that I just have no desire now. Like
I
I
agree.
this it's coming out in like a year. I bet I'll still feel the same way.
I don't
So,
know if it
probably
will
no
be
review
coming
of The
out in a
Flash,
year.
guys.
But yeah, that's also a lot of time for us to gather more information, see what happens, you know. I hope Ezra gets help. He clearly is a horrible human right now, and I hope he gets help and learns and adapts and grows up a little bit. But yeah, there's a show. This came into my head that I watched called, I think it was called Teacher, with one of the Mara girls, Kate Mara. Um,
Oh, on Hulu, right?
yeah, and I watched it. And it's obviously about that. It's about a student sleeping with a teacher, and not a grooming thing like this is. Yeah, A Teacher is what it was called. It was just a mini series. And this is obviously different. He's known her since he was 12. He's been extremely inappropriate with her. But what this show did that I think is really interesting is because we kind of think all the time about how um it's about to be a bigger conversation here, but we think a
Oh
lot,
my.
high school boys think in that way where it's like, oh, I got with an older woman, my teacher, a mom, or something like that, like great on me. And what that show, I thought the show was okay. I thought it was good, but what it really did well at the end, and I'm going to spoil it here a little bit, but what it really did well at the end is the boy who had slept with her kind of is throughout college and everything got kind of known as, oh, the guy who slept with his teacher, you were in the news, blah blah blah. And you slowly, over, like, I think it was 2 hour long episodes, saw his mental decline of, I'm in love with her, I loved her. And then he goes on like a backpacking rehab trip when he's starting to get angry because people are mentioning it so much that he was this guy that did that he gets angry and he goes to his mom and he's like, I need to go to some sort of a rehab just to figure out what's going on with me. And he goes on this backpacking trip. And there was a really great scene where he kind of has a breakdown of realizing what actually all happened. He's now like 22 and he's like, holy cow, like I was assaulted, I was taken advantage of, and I didn't even realize it. Um, and I that show does a really good job of showing that narrative because we don't always think about it that way. Like in this Ezra Miller situation, if this girl is posting and saying, I'm an adult, I'm 18 now, I know what I'm doing, I'm disappointed. It's also like, hey, you're also 18. Why don't you sit down with some experts and really talk this out and think about what has happened and how your life's gone, and you might find that you don't feel that way in reality. So I just, that was a thought that came into my head, and so I wanted to touch on it. It's a pretty good show, and if it does handle that situation, I think, in showing kind of what really the truth is with it, and I thought that was good. But anyway, shall we move on
Okay.
here?
Yeah, let's get into something more fun.
Yeah. So Kyle and I are going to end the show with this. We are in a bunch of our friends and I kind of started a couple years ago. We're coming up on 2 years of doing it now, which is pretty cool because everybody still seems to be loving doing it.
Yeah.
But we just do our own little movie club, book club movie style, where we get together on a Zoom call every 2 weeks. We get 2 weeks to watch a movie, watch 2 movies a month. It's awesome. Everybody gets to rotate and pick. We do a little Oscars. It's a good time. And one of the movies that I happened to pick was Spirited Away. And we don't talk about these great movies enough on our channel. I don't know if we've ever actually reviewed one on our channel. Maybe we have, and I just don't remember.
You must
But
have
I
done it
thought
with
it'd be
your
great
name.
to I think we did it with your name, or I've done like a Demon Slayer movie or something like that, or I've done a show, but we haven't done any of the Miyazaki movies. So I thought we would just maybe do a quick little review here. This movie's been out forever, so spoilers are welcome. Let's just chat about it, talk about whatever we want, whether it's positive or negative, and I'll just start, Kyle, with you here. But what I showed you Spirited Away in college, and now
Mm-hmm.
this is the second time you've watched it. It's a movie that I don't watch enough. I need to be watching that annually. But what do you think about Spirited Away and Miyazaki? Because that was your introduction to Miyazaki, correct? Was when we showed you the first Spirited Away?
No, my introduction was with Kiki's Delivery Service. Actually, I just didn't know
Ooh.
the name Miyazaki. I was pretty young, and I didn't grow up
Yeah.
in like the anime circles. So, but I just saw it with my family, and
Did you
it was
like
very
Kiki?
enjoyable. Oh yeah, yeah.
Elite.
It was it's probably like the most easygoing watching of the Miyazaki movies. You know what I
That or
mean? Like it's the
Totoro? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So
Totoro's rated G I could show it to the kids in my class because I'm allowed to show any G-rated movie. I just rewatched it yesterday because I've decided I'm going to watch all the Miyazaki movies after watching Spirited Away, and I was like, I could 100% show this to my kids. Like,
It's
this is
probably
so
more.
beautiful. It's loving. It's got a better story. There's nothing inappropriate. It's awesome. It's so good.
Yeah, it's just so funny that most kids movies now are like PG rated, and you're like, Why? Where is
It's
the?
true.
Why does a parent need to be in here?" So, just how weird that times have changed. But with this time around with watching
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, I was kind of noticing more of the tone and the feelings I was getting, because the first time I watched it, I think I was paying more attention to like the animation of it, and obviously it's just beautiful animation, a really terrific
Beautiful.
blend of early developments of CG with like beautiful hand drawn and hand stylings and animation. But I was noticing more of the tone this time around with the movie. Maybe tone's not the right word, but right from the get go with this movie, you're feeling the emotions that the young girl Chihiro, right? That's how you pronounce
Chihiro,
it.
yep.
Chihiro, thank you.
Or Sen. She gets a new name.
Yeah, that's true. Could call her Sin as well, but right
Sen,
away
not
you
Sin.
always feel what she's feeling throughout the whole movie. Like in the first opening act, where we see her in the car, and you can tell she's uncomfortable about the situation of moving to a new town, and she's like tired of sitting in the car. Like she doesn't want to be going to like a new school, doesn't like the new town, even though she hasn't explored it yet. Like you really get set into knowing the situation that she's in, and you also feel like a uncomfortableness about the situation yourself. Like you're transported back to when you were younger and would be in a similar situation. But once the movie gets going, like it still works to where you're feeling all of the whether they're rational or even unrational at times, her emotions throughout the movie. And I really like that, the getting to really notice that while watching that this anime movie was making me feel so much for the character, whether I didn't like her or like her enough in some moments. It's not a character that's 100% likable. There's times to where she probably can get on one's nerves, but you're still rooting for her
You just
and
don't
wanting
like
to.
kids. Stop.
We know what
She's
you're trying to
adorable in
say,
every way. She's awesome.
but I just really like that. Despite not fully liking the character, I still was able to be in her position and feel the same ways that she was feeling. Like every step along the way of her journey made the most sense to me, and that's really what stuck out to me with its tone and the emotions that were able to carry through without like having to explain it to me. Like through visuals and through great animation, it was able to accomplish those.
Yeah, for me, this movie's a 10 out of 10. Um, I think the story is simple. It's a girl trying to save her parents. Excuse me, Mr. Max. My cat is being loud if you hear meows. He's
Mm-hmm.
being needy. But I it's not a Little Mermaid romance, you know what I mean? And when we were doing our club and we were talking about the movie, I'd done a ton of research, and I know that Miyazaki made this to try to give more of a real and relatable hero to the kind of 10-year-old girl audience at the time. And because
Mm-hmm.
the biggest movie around that same era was like The Little Mermaid or those Disney movies, and it was always so romance centered. And she's not in love with Haku because he's a cute boy. She's in love with Haku because he's the river spirit that saved her. He loves her in more of a platonic way, is always how I viewed it, than necessarily
Okay.
romance. Um, and I just, the second the movie starts, it's them in the car, and immediately it's the call to action. Within the first 10 minutes, she gets called for the hero's journey, and she doesn't necessarily answer it at first. She kind of just gets thrust into it and being told what to do until she starts taking her own action. And I love the story. As soon as they cross over into the world, and they cross through the passage, and and they see all these old ruins of what the new times have done to the past, which is a thing Miyazaki's huge on, about that we need to not forget. And that's what this movie says. It's saying, hey, don't forget the past, treat it with respect, love it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but you can move forward. You don't need to be stuck in the old ways, but you don't need to force the new ways. You don't need to forget us and forget these spirits. And that's even more so with the river spirit that she cleans in the bathhouse, that they all kind of mock her, and she has to be the one to do it because nobody else wants to do it. And then what she ends up doing is releasing this very powerful spirit who gives her a gift that then she's able to use later. It's just, the second the movie starts, you can't look away, because
Yeah.
you're thrown in and being like, oh, I've been a kid in the back seat annoyed at mom and dad. I've moved, I feel that. And then you're like, oh, where are they headed? They're taking a little detour, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, wow, where's all this food coming from? And then boom, oh my gosh, they're pigs. And then you are with her on the journey of how is this going to work? Like when she talks about forgetting her name, how she can't forget it and she needs to remember her name. Um, like to me at that moment, I'm feeling nervous for her throughout the movie. Then I'm sitting there going, don't forget your name. Keep on remembering your parents. Like they show she has to remember her parents as pigs. And when you look at it, like as an audience member, I'm like, I don't know which pigs are her parents, but she
Mm-hmm.
does. And I think it's so well crafted. It's almost completely hand drawn animation. There are some shots of CG
Mm-hmm.
using miniatures, paintings, things like that. But I mean, the hand drawn looks incredible. I mean, the movie is it's just beautiful. I still to this day think there is not a better, more beautiful animated movie I've ever seen. I don't think anything has super come close. I think the last time I remember having my jaw kind of open thinking, "Oh, this reminds me of Spirited Away in terms of the beauty of the animation," was Into the Spider-Verse. Like I just think of that shot where he jumps off the tower and he's flipping backwards, falling, and
Mm-hmm.
then they show the wide shot. Like that to me is a painting too. Um, Even some other older Miyazaki movies I don't think hold up as well. I watched this on my big TV. I have it on DVD and I got it in 4K or whatever in this new kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
updated version, and it's just beautiful. Like that's how it was meant to be seen. I just love this movie so much. I truly don't have a critique. Like the movie is, there's not a frame I think is bad. There's nothing I think is wrong. There's no nitpick. I think every character rocks it. I think the voice actors rock it. I think the story, the visuals, the script, the direction, everything is just absolutely beautiful and well done. You got other thoughts here, my guy?
No,
Wow.
not really. I think you explained yourself pretty well. I just like that this movie, and other Miyazaki movies as well, they don't shy away from going full 100 on weird concepts, or I guess I should say like weird world building concepts, but still take matter about the story and about the characters.
Yeah.
And
It's
these
character
movies are,
driven.
yeah, these movies are just really good lessons of storytelling and of art, in my opinion. So
They're
yeah,
important lessons too, I think, for kids of that age, because
of
there's
all
not
ages,
a
really.
lot of, well, yes, but I just think of um like when you, I love The Little Mermaid. Ponyo is the better version of it, but I love The Little Mermaid. But it it is very much um a a romance story, and we're here to
Yeah.
get the prince and the boy, kiss the girl, all that stuff. Where Spirited Away is saying any 10-year-old could go on this journey. Any 10-year-old could stumble into a world that we don't even know, to the point where it even becomes, I think, at times an allegory for that kids' imaginations are crazy. I was just
Mm.
watching another one of his movies, for which for some reason I'm blanking on the name, which is just absolutely shocking. Uh, but I watched Totoro yesterday, and Totoro's very like that. There's a whole scene of I met a Totoro, I met a troll, And dad's like, oh, sure. They kind of laugh about it for a second. And then the dad recognizes, and I think it's very Miyazaki-esque of what he had the dad do, is he's like, we know you saw it. And he does the very adult thing. He's like, yeah, we believe you. We know you saw it. It was just a spirit, and they only show you when they want to be seen. And that's true. And there's so many scenes in this movie that are just so good. I just love it, from the spider to the dust mites making another appearance. They're in Totoro as well.
Mhm.
Like, I love when the baby gets turned into the mouse and everything like that. I think they're so funny. I think the way she's able to win the day and turn the narrative around her differently, and it's beautifully done. It is a 10 out of 10 movie. I'm so glad I rewatched it. I have to make this a yearly thing from now on because it's been a few years. The last time I saw it, I was in the movie theater because they did their Ghibli Fest. They tend to, most
Mm.
theaters do it in October, and I went and saw Mononoke a couple years back, probably 5 years ago, and Spirited Away I was able to go see about 5 years ago. I haven't gotten a chance to go since, but like in the movie theater, you're just blown away by how beautiful it looks. Even more so, I got a pretty big TV, and even more, it's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
He is a master for a reason. He's a little bit of an arrogant guy from what interviews and reports have said, and he can be very controlling. But I think when it comes down to his storytelling, I think he there's maybe not a guy who does it better. And I actually had this thought the other day, because I was thinking about when you sent me the podcast notes. I went for a little bike ride today. I was actually thinking about it today, not the other day. And I was thinking about when we talked about who would we want to see direct a Star Wars movie, and we talked about Alfonso Cuarón and things like that, and Steven Spielberg. And then I just started thinking today, I was like, I think now my number one choice would be a Miyazaki animated full-fledged Star Wars movie. After seeing Visions and how incredible Star Wars Visions is, I was like, that would be insane. The worlds he would craft within Star Wars would just be incredible. And that's now the top of my list. He's apparently working on a movie right now. He unretired again. I'm going to look it up here before we wrap this show up. But how old is he now? Man,
He's probably up there, I'm certain.
I mean, he was born in 1941, Kyle. Do some math. What are we
Math
in,
is hard.
2022?
2022. A lot of years, man.
He's
That's a heck of a
81.
life,
Actually,
though.
he's a little younger than I thought. I thought he was pushing 90. He's 81. Um, he is set. He did a short called Boro the Caterpillar after the Wind Rises, which was his last directorial movie in 2013. Ponyo in 2008. Howl's Moving Castle in 2004. Spirited Away then in 2001, Mononoke in 97, but he has one upcoming directorial project, and it says How Do You Live is what apparently the name of it is. There's even a little image of it. Kind of, I don't know if it'll light adjust there, probably
Not
not.
even a
Brutal.
little.
I'll have to send that to you because that is a cool looking image, and I wonder if because it's very pencil drawn, and I wonder if that's going to be the actual style instead of
Hopefully.
actually doing not that he's drawing it in pencil, but that the animation
Yeah.
looks like it's a pencil, like a paper book come to life.
Yeah, yeah.
He wrote the screenplay. Apparently, he's working on it. It's expected to come out in 2026. Wow. Um, Apparently, it's
That's
supposed to
terrific
be
time.
the film depicts the psychological growth of a teenage boy through interactions with his friends and uncle. Huh, all right, Miyazaki. Um, there's one more thing I wanted to say about this before we wrap this up, but I can't remember. Um,
Bummer.
him doing Star Wars would be incredible, but he's a master. I might need to put him in my Mount Rushmore directors because we don't think about him, I think, enough in that terms when we talk about who are the best of the best.
Or
But
animation in general.
it's
Like
true.
yeah, it keeps being thought of as like a genre when
It's
it
not.
probably shouldn't be,
No,
you
it's
know.
just film.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, what do you think of everything? Comment below. Let us know. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, share. Check out all the clip outs on YouTube, all that stuff. Thank you, Moon Meal patrons. Go get some merch. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.